Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about misconceptions about Leo. Now, when I'm talking about Leo, I'm referring to the sun, moon, or ascendant. And when we look at the sign Leo, it is a sign that appears to be, can be demonstrative, they can be flamboyant, they can get attention very easily due to the fact that they're very charismatic and magnetic, many of these people. However, I think there might be a little misconception or misconceptions about this sign. And when I look at Leo, we look at Leo and maybe sometimes superficially we say, okay, they're about trying to get attention. Now, some may be about this, but I don't think you can stereotype and say they all are, because I think in many or most cases, Leo is a sign that basically it often gets attention automatically. They may not really be trying to seek it, but a lot of times it just comes to them due to the fact because of a lot of it is their complexion, or there's something about them that brings attention to them. Leos are a sign that is about dignity, is about pride. Leos have a lot of, like all the signs, Leos do have their positive characteristics, and they do have their negative ones as well. But I think when we look at Leo, a lot of people may see kind of on the surface or superficially that they're about trying to get others to applaud them or laud them for achievements. Now, Leos are a sign that can be about notoriety. They can be about getting certain, I guess you could say, maybe that attention to some degree for what they do. But Leos are not always about hogging the stage, so to speak, just for themselves. I believe Leos, because of their magnanimous and generous nature, they are also willing to share the spotlight and allow others to be in it with them, due to the fact that they could be very charitable and generous. And I think it also applies to as far as getting maybe recognition for things. They're the kind of people I see them. When I say generous, I don't mean just from a monetary or financial standpoint. It's the fact that they're not the type to forget others that help them out. If somebody that has Leo prominent in their horoscope, they win some kind of award, they don't strike me generally as people that are going to omit the other people that were somehow, if they had other people involved with them in terms of them receiving that recognition or honor or achievement, they're not going to be the type that are going to be oblivious to those people. I see them, they're the kind of people that will remember those that help them out in terms of helping them get to that pinnacle or reach a certain stature in life, or gaining that personal recognition or award or what have you. So I think the thing about it is, you have to remember too that, like, if somebody just says, well, okay, well, he has the sun in Leo, so this is such and such true, you always have to remember that the person, more often than not, is going to have a different moon and ascendant. Just like somebody that has a Leo ascendant, the odds are they're going to have a different moon and sun sign. Now, let's say, for example, if somebody were to have a sun and ascendant in Leo, well, half the time, or say at least approximately half the time, that sun would be in the 12th house. And if somebody has the sun in the 12th house, the energy can be a little bit dissipated, not just because it's an immutable house or a cadet house. It's because that 12th house, I think, especially, that energy can be suppressed a little more, and it's not going to come out, really in that strong extrovert nature as it would if the sun in Leo was posited in the first house. Also, there can be, you figure about half of people with the Leo sun or ascendant or moon are going to have more planets below the horizon, in other words, in houses 1st through 6th, than in houses 7 through 12. Now, granted, you're going to have half the people are going to have them in 7 through 12, which will make the person more gregarious and more about extroversion and being and getting out there with others. So the thing about it is, you have to always, as I say in my videos, you've got to take the whole chart into perspective and don't isolate one particular element, house placement or sign placement or what have you, and make that full analysis, because you just can't do it. There's a multitude of nuances and things in a horoscope that you got to look at and take into consideration when you're doing this. So really, for me, is that Leo is the very generous sign. Yes, they can be, on average, they can be a little bit more flamboyant, flashy, more. They may talk a little bit more about themselves, a little more than the average sign, but I don't think it's quite as blown up as a lot of people may see it as. And I think with Leos, they just naturally, they can get an abundance of attention because of basically they're just something in their nature. And often they can have a personality which is very optimistic and confident, and can be expansive because it is a masculine sign, which has a tendency to draw others to them. More people obviously are going to go to somebody that is confident as opposed to somebody that is negative or pessimistic. And Leos are generally, they're not going to be short on the confidence part. They're not necessarily, and also another thing with Leo is that a misconception can be that all Leos are egotistical or vain or arrogant. I think in a lot of cases you just see Leos are just have an abundance of confidence because, as I stated before, it is a masculine sign. Fire signs tend to radiate with that confidence and self-assuredness, and they have the confidence in their abilities to get things done. And Leo, being a fixed sign, is also about having that drive, that persistence and single-mindedness to see things through. And they're certainly not the kind that is going to necessarily forget about somebody, especially if that person has helped them out in the past. They're about reciprocation and showing that strong, generous side of them. And they are, and that is pretty much what I wanted to say as far as misconceptions about Leo goes. And people, two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because a person, astrologically, is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.